Unfortunately, I was recording a bunch of dead space, so I just decided to restart the video. I've only taken a couple trades, nothing good, a couple small losses, a scalp here trying to move down through these lows after this huge imbalance up, this really big range expansion up, and now I'm actually currently looking for another short trade in here. I am short 44.75. We had absorption on both sides here. Some limit selling here as well, but expectation is that we can come down through to this, at least to the 39 area. That's what I would be looking for. I mean, we could see much lower prices fill in some of this trade, but this is just going to be, I'm going to watch and manage and see how price reacts below these lows, but I will be looking to see how price responds into this buying absorption here around the 43.25, but this needs to hold this selling absorption without the spike higher. But we do have some volume protecting the trade above, and order flow is getting very, very heavy to me, so we'll see if we can get a little drop. Buying the low side of range into limit buying is questionable, but we'll see what happens. So another loss. Selling the low side into absorption. And my other trade, long, I took a break even, trying to get up to and break the high into the 50 round number. And we can see that was back here. I had about 4 points of equity, and this selling absorption came in and it took me out break even. I was going for a 49.75 trade, and that did not happen. So, and then I tried to short here, and then obviously this short here again, and not really anything good. I missed all of the long opportunity. My context and read was correct, and then after this spike down, Kelly entered really at the low side of this pin to take out and move up into this space. That was my idea as well, but I was a little concerned about being under this structure, so I didn't get any of this. And then in the open there was a possible re-entry here to trade up into the 44 round number. This last try I basically took a 3-point full loss when I knew it wasn't working out. When it didn't hold this volume, I should have probably just killed it rather than just seeing if it's going to take out this high. If it doesn't hold this seller absorption, it's going to take out this high. So rather than trusting that and taking it off and just killing the trade for a reduced, like a 1 point, at 4 tick loss, I took a full 12 ticks. So that's not good trading. Trying 44.50 short. We had some increased volume here. I wanted to see a spike above this little range, this short-term range, but we just couldn't move up at all. So why would we have increased volume here and an inability to push higher? And delta continues to be real heavy, so we'll see if these bids start pulling, but it feels like the order flow is with me on this one. Same targets to take out some of this liquidity lower into this LVN. 39.25 is a decent area to go for. In front of that, probably 39.50. But now we definitely have some longs trapped in here. Let's see if we can get the order flow to flush. I'm not going to keep much risk on at all on this trade, because if we get above that volume, it's really not going to be very good for this trade. This is the last chance. And it's just possible we're just completely stuck in balance here, but the order flow, I feel like, is likely to correct at some point. This is the test of that volume I was talking about now. And I'm out for another small loss. Trying a short again. 46.50 on the entry if I can get it, and it looks like I may not get it. We push up above the range, and that's what I wanted initially, and then some pretty big limit selling absorption, and then this big last ditch attempt by some limit buying, I feel like. And now we're pushing lows, and I'm guessing we're going to break, and this is going to go without me. So what is the best thing I could have done here is just to buy right at the low side of this range, but then there's really not any trigger or push, and now we've broken below these lows. So it's a little higher risk trade now, but we'll see. I'm going to continue to leave my order in because we haven't broken this low. We have come down and tested this limit buyer here. See if I get the fill. So close, a tick away from my entry, and did not get the fill. One frickin' tick. Oh man, that would have been a nice entry there now with an immediate reversal, and I'm guessing that's the last ditch trap for the longs. That's a little unlucky, I would say. So now I don't really want to allow a second test of this volume, and I don't think we're going to get it anyway, but that would have been a beautiful entry and target down at the 39.75. I did pull my 46.50 entry. There's limit buying coming in here, and I do not want to allow a second test. I want to be in before the push down here. So 39.75, basically 7-point win or potential to this LVN 39.25 would be my ultimate target. But you know, it's late in the day too, it's kind of slow, so we just seem to be having kind of a real balancy value area buyer fight between the buyers and the sellers. So I'll keep watching and see if there's anything, but I think I'm pretty much going to be done for the day. It's pretty shitty result, down 300 on some crappy trades that I was trying to kind of scalp shorts, 4 trades and really not anything good, and I missed all the real good setups at the open. So we need to be more aggressive on my context and read and opportunities in the morning, in the first, in the pre-market, in the first couple hours of the day. But it is what it is. So here's my target hit right here. 39.75, well, not quite a tick away, but this is a good trade. We can see the big the seller absorption, and these are the kind of things that I need to wait for. I was talking about waiting for this week high to be taken out. That's exactly what happened. Came back up into the previous supply and sold off. 46.50 was my entry, and once we had this absorption, I pulled it, but it possibly live it would have been filled, and I expect some further downside here. I don't really think that we'll probably stop here, but yeah, just so close. So that's a stupid thing to say. Close doesn't mean a goddamn thing in this market or in this game we're playing. So, but that would have been basically a 7-point win on that one, and I took two losses in here, trying to get the same idea, but not waiting for exactly what I wanted to see, which is what we would expect: seller absorption, taking out the shorts, and then the immediate reversal trapping the longs. So the imbalance that we want. So entering anywhere in here on a little push below this volume. So any kind of entry in here would have been fine, or on the retrace up here, little bit. If the context is correct, this limit buying isn't that big of a deal. If sellers are in control, we would expect this to hold, and that's exactly what it did. So context is very important on this trade. And I think I'm going to be done for the day. So gotta know when to quit, or I'll come back maybe for the last hour, but it's super slow now. But this is the trade I was waiting for, and it played out perfectly, but I didn't take advantage of it. I'm long 44.75. We had this imbalance, the takeout of this low into this untested demand below, and now we have imbalanced up, and I'm trading off of this fresh demand. We had absorption here, and a push down, and now I'm looking to take out these highs really all could trade all the way back into for the high of the day. 49.50 will be my short-term target though. We'll see. Looks like I might be early. Would have liked a little deeper push into this LVN here. This is not good. Worst price possible now. Likely to spike this down if the context read is correct. Just always a fucking sucker. Putting my order behind this LVN. But I'm already definitely on the wrong side of this trade. Bam! Perfect. Perfect trade for the loss. And once again, similar to yesterday, approaching loss limit. Took another long and another fucking loss. Down 625 on the day. Thought that we saw some buyer absorption here, and I tried to enter right at that level, and we didn't even go a tick above it, and I immediately the trade went against me, and I just held it for the loss. Definitely lost my mind a little bit today. Unfortunately, I haven't had one of these days in quite a while. And I was trying to get the short down to break down, and it seems like we're just somewhat in a balanced day now. And expectation is to hold the low side of this range and push up and take out the high side here. At least to get up and to break it. This is a pretty weak high to me now. None of this seems very strong. But we're right at my entry now long. It's a nice push higher. All these shorts trapped. Limit sellers here, limit sellers here. And finally on the right side after just a bunch of losses. So obviously I can't trade 5 losses for every win. And we still don't know what's going to happen in this one yet, but pretty big increase in volume here. Expectation now is that we hold this LVN from above and we continue higher. It's been a real weird order flow situation today, but we can see basically since the morning, since 8 o'clock, the last 4 or 5 hours, we've just been chopping around in balance. So that just is acceptance of price, two-way trade, limit buyers and sellers on both sides here. So it's more of a scalping environment, and rather than trying to trade short here at the low side of range, expecting all of this to be filled in. So that really doesn't make sense on a day like this, how it's been fairly balanced. I'm going to try to trade through this to this LVN at 49.50, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Clearly the shorts are in trouble here. Not a lot of sell support in the market at all at this point. But we also can kind of come down and retrace back to this. I would expect now this 41.25 to be revisited minimum. And that's also, this is, all just around this point of control area. So hard to say if I will survive that big of a pullback, but it makes sense that we'll see those prices up there. This is the expectation of the pullback now here. How deep does it go? I don't know. We'll see. Obviously no risk on this trade anymore. There was this limit selling up here, and then little clue about this is when we came back up into this, there wasn't a ton of absorption still. So to me that means that we don't have real large limit sellers here still in the market. So up until much higher prices. And we'll just continue to monitor and watch and see what that looks like. But I can't keep trading like this. I mean, this is just terrible. Emotionally very difficult. I'm so sick of this. Reflecting back and looking at, I've been doing this again for over a year, and I feel like I'm getting better, and then I have days like this where I almost call this a blow-up day, but I feel like I know what I'm doing 1 minute, and then just have days like the last couple of days where I just feel like I have no clue. Miss all the good trade opportunities in the morning and then just trade like shit the rest of the day. So limit buying coming in here, and this is also likely where we have some of these sellers capitulating, closing, but then it's absorbed by the buyers. So that supports the long side trade. Now who knows what's going to happen if a big giant limit seller can come in here at any point, but I like higher prices, so I'm going to hold for the idea, especially with this buyer response in here, and at the LVN. So everything supports higher prices here. Like to see some of this order flow unwind and see some of these bigger shorts pushed out of the market. So that'll definitely fuel the move to the upside if we can get it, if it doesn't just stay balanced in here. Just set our first retest of this limit buyer and a decent response off of that. I definitely want to watch this 44.25 and see what happens when we return, because there's some selling there and they continue to reload that offer. But let's see if we can push through it this time. We traded through that price now. See if that turns into, and we have traded through it once. See if we can trade through it this time. Finally ate up all those orders, which to me means that the sellers can't sustain that move. 49.25 is still the target. I mean, I would expect to see a new high day actually, but gonna have to hold through a pretty significant pullback, and at this point being up this much on this trade, that's something I'm not really too interested in doing. Lots of accepted price around that 44 area, 44, 44, 25. Let's see what happens here. We have support now, structure at that area. Some pretty big increased volume near those highs. We gotta trade through this now. This next attempt up, I want to see it go. See what happens when we come up to that. Back at the 45. 44.75 is an LVN now, so ideally I'd lean on that. See what happens if we can push through this. It's having trouble. 45 is crucial here. Not holding it so far. Back to the 44.25. This has got to go. See if 44.25 holds from above. Doesn't look like it's going to. Still just holding this. Nothing looks good about it now at this point. That 44.25 couldn't hold. We have some buying coming in here now. Limit absorption. But back kind of to the VPOC area, which is to be expected. In balance. Just giving up a ton of profit on this trade now. See if that buyer absorption holds. Basically giving up 5 points of equity on this trade now. $5 points for 2 points of extra. At 44.25 again. Again, we're at that area. Let's see if we can push through again. Seems to be an area of a lot of interest trading in there. This is the first test of that limit selling again. Doesn't seem like there's huge interest here anymore. We should be able to push through it. Coming into the top of the hour as well, so likely we'll see some additional volume come into the market there. Which way? Who knows? But there's not much volume up here anymore. No real big absorption. See if we can get a push. Some size at 44.50 on the dome. 55 and 53.75 as well. Just can't seem to get out of this area though. It's a little slow. See if we can just flush this high. See what happens above there. 244 contracts at 47.25. See if that pulls or gets traded. That just got traded. Not really much response. Big delta now. 47's holding. Not really any crazy volume. Couldn't. Let's just push this out and let's get on with it. Chasing the bids up now. Nothing really in the way of this trade. Nothing big on the dome. 44.50, 250 contracts up there. Let's see if I can manage this well. Probably going to get taken out. Nothing but stuck shorts now in this market. Let's see if we can get another push. It's 1 o'clock now. That's a good little response. Chasing it up. They're joining the bid. .48's pulling, 25 pulling. Still pretty light volume through these highs. Push them out, come on. I just locked in 9 points. So that was a long, painful trade, huh? There's the 49.75 target, so 2 points above where I exited. But I still think we have we're likely to take out price, and some of this order flow can unwind. We still haven't seen it really. All of this two-way trade that's been happening in here. Could see 56.75 get taken out quite easily. That's kind of the top side of this high. This is kind of fairly weak price structure. This is a major area here in this 44.50 area, fundamentally long term as well, but there's that blow off and explosion of order flow, and some of that has been released in the form of all of these short stops getting triggered and pushed out of this market. You can see probably the highest volume of the day since the opening, definitely by far. So I would expect still higher prices. It's hard. How do you manage this though in here with all these stops getting triggered and then this being absorbed in the form of profit taking or limit sellers coming back in this market? There's that 56 that I was talking about holding for. That level has been taken out now, and I mean there's some real pent-up energy now in this whole area. So there's a 62.75 number up here, which is way back. 62.75 signifies, I think, these tops. So lots of potential for upside here. That's it. Calling it a day. Missed all of this upside. I'm not going to say missed the upside, but my target at the 57 area, which would have been a huge trade, but just a terrible day. 2, 4, 6 losses, 1 break even, and a nice winner. That's just totally unacceptable. I need to be way more consistent. Ended up minus 387 even with the big winner, so pretty friggin' disastrous day. Right around my loss limit, so the last one could have potentially put me in that territory. So, but that's it.